Padres Hot Tub, everybody. Elsten, Chris Reed, Raphie Cantor. It is December 4th, 2023. The Padres have still done absolutely nothing. And we're here to, well, we're honestly not here to talk about it. We're here to not talk about it, boys. We have a couple things to say off the front. We're going to do something silly and fun. It's silly season. If this is the one you wanted to skip, cool, it's fine. But, off the top, the winter meetings have begun in Nashville, the Grand Ole Opry Hotel, and the Padres have so far done nothing. On Tuesday, Mike Schilt and AJ Preller will speak. There'll be a little bit of grist for the mill there, but either a move will happen or a move won't happen. And as such, this show is one of multiple shows this week for Padres Hot Tub. We're either going to be back at the end of the winter meetings to do a Padres didn't do anything. Let's talk about the 2 Rule 5 pitchers that they drafted, which, by the way, this is my prediction. The Padres will draft 2 Rule 5 pitchers and attempt to keep them both on the roster this season. Or they'll trade Juan Soto or sign Blake Snell or do something. And we'll be here with an emergency show to cover it. So either way, there's a show coming later this week. And we aren't going to waste your time on tonight's show, right, guys? With a whole bunch of what maybe could happen, or let's pretend, or let's speculate, etc.
I don't want to hear the words New York Yankees anymore. I'm so done with it. I don't need to contribute to that. I'm just done.
The only thing I'll say is that AJ Preller went on High Heat this afternoon, the MLB Network show, and he no-ed his way through it. And I was just glad that we were not the only ones who had to watch it. That now a nationwide audience is subject to his bullshit. And I mean, to be fair, seeing him just effortlessly bat away questions about seems like it's point of no return with Juan Soto. What are you guys gonna do? And he just says gibberish. And Chris Rizzo is there trying to be all right, I'm just gonna keep asking this question, I guess. I didn't actually hear a definitive answer, but yeah, felt good not to be the only ones.
Well, the only kind of thing I want to say about the winter meetings before anything happens is what my good friend Joe Sheehan wrote in his newsletter this morning. One sentence, it's very simple. Everything you hear, somebody wants you to hear. Everything you read, somebody wants you to read. It's just like the kind of quote-unquote reporting that takes place prior to the NFL draft. If information is out there, it's out there because some party desires for that information to be out there. Example, when the New York Yankees are probably not going to trade for Juan Soto, but are written in 38 different national news stories as being the team that's definitely going to trade for Juan Soto, all of a sudden you get multiple, Bob Nightingale types being given very specific, very outlandish trade demands to make Yankees fans think that the Padres are insane. The Padres asked for 7 players and this and that. Always remember, this isn't reporting. Ken Rosenthal didn't sneak into AJ Preller's suite and find his magic book of notes and quickly feverishly take screenshots of all of them. This is always somebody's intention behind what you read and what you hear.
And I put this in the Discord as well, but do you notice how the Padres quote unquote dog shit offers to the Yankees are all spilling out in the media, but none of the Yankees dog shit offers where they say, hey, give us Juan Soto for a bag of baseballs and a spit handshake. None of those are getting out to the media because AJ Preller doesn't leak. That's the thing we've seen constantly. It's trades just sneak up on us, as Padres fans when AJ Preller makes one. So there's a reason we're not hearing the other side of things, and all of the narrative that you're seeing Reddit is just turning into a cesspool right now. So I would put on your hazmat suit before you go on in there. But just be thankful that we aren't actively doing things like what the Mariners are doing and just, dumping Jared Kelenic in a salary dump for I see some retconning happening where they're saying like, oh, they're gonna go for Ohtani and that's why they're clearing payroll. I'm like, teams that go for Ohtani don't make moves like that. Sorry. So
They signed Blake Snell and they say that's the room they needed.
Maybe.
I don't know. We'll figure it out. But I guess just the general point is we're not going to sit here and we're not going to waste your time just coming up with hypothetical Juan Soto trades, shooting them down, shooting them up,
That
shooting
would be
them in our
idiotic,
veins.
foolish clown shit is what that would be.
Right. What we're going to do tonight is something also idiotic and foolish, but it's buttressed by being nonsensical and irrelevant. So I think it's the perfect melange for silly season entertainment. All right. I mean, did you really want an hour on us breaking down Eugenio Suarez to the Diamondbacks? Okay. Like, he might hit 189. He might hit 234. He's going to hit some homers, not as many as they hope. There you go. Done.
Nobody wants to see Clark Schmidt's friggin' savant page.
Thank you. When something happens, we'll react. I never like to react. I'm really boring when it comes to trades. I hate hypothetical trades. They're always wrong. Like, they're always wrong. So even when we got to Soto at the deadline in 22, where the hypotheticals were kind of right, they still wound up being wrong.
Yeah.
So I can't stand it. So with that, understanding there's another show coming this week, one way or another, or two. There could be 3 shows coming this week. Who knows? My dear friend, colleague, and compatriot, Chris Reed, has had an idea that he's pushed on. I mean, he's suggested to Raphie and I.
You can just go ahead and say it.
For a little while. I mean, like, he suggested it for a while.
Basically, since I came onto the show.
And we mostly ignored it. I mean, I kind of pretended like this was the first time I heard it when it came up a couple days ago. But Chris, would you like to explain what we're going to do tonight?
Well, we all know that baseball is kind of screwed up, right? And we hear all sorts of theories about why it's screwed up. I know why baseball is screwed up, and that's because its owners suck. As a collective unit, the majority of owners of baseball teams suck. They're not fans of the clubs they're owning. They don't try to win the World Series every single year, which should be the number one thing for anybody owning a professional sports franchise. You should want to win the World Series. You should want to do the best for the city you're representing. And we're going to fix baseball, boys, by drafting new ownership for all 30 baseball teams.
Okay, a PHT owner draft. And Raphie, how is this going to work?
So we have randomized the order of all 30 MLB teams. And basically, we're just going to go in an order that is Craig, Raphie, Chris, Craig, Raphie, Chris.
Because Craig had the worst year last year in MLB owner drafting.
So I get the first pick.
However,
Craig, I wound up with a subset of 10 really shitty and annoying teams that I generally don't like. So there's that too.
Craig tanked for the lottery pick and it didn't go his way.
Didn't go my way. I wound up drafting 7th. Yeah.
So we're just gonna go down the list like that. There are really no rules about who can be named. Anyone can be named the owner. I believe the example that was given to me by you, Chris, in the text was that Batman could be named the owner of the Mets.
Sure.
So anything is in play, and then at the end, I'm going to be taking notes, and we'll do a little recap, going division by division to tell you who will be the new owners of Major League Baseball's 30 esteemed franchises.
If this sounds fun to you, I think that as a team, we came up with a great idea. If you don't like this, this was Chris's show. and just be happy that we got through it. Okay, so I will just tell you, for the 10 teams that were assigned to me, these were the criteria that I created for myself. I wanted to select living people, actual people, and people who potentially, if not have the money right now to buy a Major League Baseball team, would be someone that could head a consortium that could buy a Major League Baseball team. So I didn't pick anyone who, couldn't do it.
Did you do the same thing, Raphie?
No. I went very weird.
Same with me.
Okay. So with that in mind, I go first, right? Okay. Rafe, you've got the order. I only know my teams, but I know I go first.
You do go first. Let me just
say
announce
who's on
it.
the clock. Who's on the
Yeah.
clock?
On the clock first is Craig Elsten with the Minnesota Twins going first.
Ooh.
Okay, so the Twins, and again, it's a draft, but like if one of you guys pick my owner, I'm not coming up with a second pick. Like, fuck you. If you take one of my
guys, you have to go
guys,
back to the war room.
Yeah, Jeff Morad's my automatic second pick for every single one.
Oh,
Like,
that's terrible.
You don't get number one, you get Morad. Okay, so I tried to take some sort of logic to each of these. The Twins, the Minnesota Twins, the Twin Cities, Minneapolis, St. Paul. I feel like we need some honesty in representation here. I think we should have twins as owners of the Twins. So I went to the iconic and most recognizable pair of twins in my lifetime. And the new owners of the Minnesota Twins are Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito. I mean, listen, first of all, they're both extremely rich. If they put their money together, could they afford to buy the Twins? I don't know. Maybe. Arnold Schwarzenegger, a pioneer in green living. And the Twins are kind of that team, Target Center. It's going to be a greener, more environmentally friendly place. Danny DeVito, he brings the juice. Now it's Jersey Mike's juice. He's just going to splatter that oil and vinegar all over the place. But Jersey Mike's is automatically the patch sponsor of the Minnesota Twins. And I think under the benevolent leadership of Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito, great times are ahead for the Minnesota Twins, my friends.
Oh, no complaints. The league just got better, 100%.
I love that. The only other one I would have gone with potentially is Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen.
I thought about Mary-Kate and Ashley. I just thought I don't know if they'll be approved, and I don't know if they actually want.
I don't know if they'll be approved. You think Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito? I mean, maybe.
Indubitably, they would be. Yes, both white men of a certain age. They are both getting approved immediately.
They're safe. Fair enough.
All right, Rafe, who's next?
I am next. My first team is the Baltimore Orioles. This was actually the first one, though. When I looked at my list, I was like, I actually know exactly who I'm doing. And I'm going with famed indie director and sleazeball movie maker John Waters.
I love it.
Baltimore's own. Famously setting all of his stuff in Baltimore. His probably most famous movie you guys know is Hairspray. But he's done plenty of other ones. He did. So I went recently to the John Waters exhibit at the Academy Museum, which is excellent if you have the chance to go. Highly recommend it. He did a movie called Serial Mom that I loved. Do you guys know this movie, Serial Mom?
Yes.
Yes.
Kathleen Turner? Is it
Kathleen Turner? Kathleen Turner.
I think I saw Serial Mom.
Yeah, it's like a parody of a housewife who then basically just goes on a killing spree because people won't follow manners, and like put their elbows on the table and like do stuff like that.
Because this is a baseball movie now that he owns the team, can we watch this for a watch party?
I would absolutely watch Serial Mom again. But the thing I like about John Waters is that I think that the team promotion nights would be great. Like they would just do like dildo giveaway nights or something like that.
Yes.
All of the uniforms would be like outrageous and colorful and campy. There'd be like boa feathers and chiffon and stuff like that. So it would be it would be the most fun, the most innovative, and the most exciting promotions and uniforms, I think, in Major League Baseball, hands down. So John Waters is my pick for the Orioles.
I love it. Gunnar Henderson and boa feathers. Say no more.
Exactly.
All those dudes with that long hair, he's going to do just wonders with. Absolutely.
He's going to do a great job. So Chris is on the clock next, and he has the New York Yankees.
Okay, I know I said I didn't want to say this team's name again in this podcast.
And then you drafted their owners, so
I was blessed with the opportunity to replace Hal Steinbrenner And in this one, I kind of took more of a Craig tack with it. This person is alive. They would improve the team's image immediately. They would immediately try to win every single year using every single resource they had. And this person would be another film director, except this would become a Spike Lee joint. Yankee Stadium would immediately have some fun flavor. He would be down on the field, probably acting more like George than Hal. And I just see that improving the Yankees' image. They would no longer be tweeting fond remembrances of Henry Kissinger. And I just see the box office of the Yankees under Spike Lee's reign exploding. I think it would be good for their fans to have a taste of his personality rather than the stale old pantry that the Steinbrenners bring out every year. And that's my choice. Spike Lee, 3rd overall, going to the New York Yankees.
Okay, there's only one problem. He would own the Knicks.
He would own the Knicks.
No, he also wears Yankees hats, so it counts.
Jay-Z
Okay.
is the Yankees hat guy, I think.
They
I
both
think
wear
Jay-Z
Yankees
should own the
hats.
Knicks.
Spike
Yankees,
Lee
yeah.
wears better outfits than Jay-Z. They were both considered because Jay-Z and Beyonce would be a power couple. They would certainly attract free agents. But
Yeah.
Spike Lee has been to Yankees games and therefore fulfills the criteria of being a Yankees fan. Therefore, is now the owner of the team.
I think we can't contractually criticize any of these choices because the entire thing
Please
follows.
do. Bring it on.
So, yeah,
Bring
I would
it
just
on.
say
I've got my
I would
receipts.
pick Jay-Z. Yeah, Jay-Z. I would pick Jay-Z.
I would want to do you guys ever follow Side Talk New York on Instagram, or do you know what I'm talking about? They do like really short they go outside Knicks games and people just say the craziest, most insane, offensive and
doesn't Jay-Z own the Nets? He already owns a team.
He does own the Nets, but in a different league.
So he has his chance.
Diversify.
We're giving Spike Lee he's a director.
I like it.
LeBron owns part of the Red Sox and Liverpool. Like, you can do multiple sports.
There you go.
Think about that. Okay, we're moving on. With the fourth pick, Craig has the Tampa Bay Rays.
Okay, the Tampa Bay Rays deserve new ownership. The Tampa Bay Rays are too small. They think too small. They're on the wrong side of the bridge in Tampa St. Pete. There's a lot of things that could go better with the Tampa Bay Rays. So I was looking for somebody who is larger than life, somebody who could bring an injection of enthusiasm, an injection of cash, who could bring cachet along with the cash. And I think Shaquille O'Neal should be the owner of the Tampa Bay Rays.
Successful businessman.
100%. I think he should Shaq-a-roni the Rays and make it bigger, more pepperoni. And look, I'm almost serious. Like, Shaquille O'Neal has already proven his ability as a savvy businessman to take over a completely ruined franchise and keep it alive in Papa John's, which is run by a ridiculous, drunk, cokehead racist. And it was like, put Shaq's face on it. It's cool again. It's fine. Papa Shaq's. So I say put Shaq's face on the Rays. He's already done great things to revitalize Florida sports when he was a member of the Orlando Magic. So he's got some familiarity. I did look it up. He's got mansions in Georgia, Las Vegas, and Arizona, but not Florida. So perfect time to branch out, get a mansion in Florida, or you could commute from your Georgia mansion. I'm sure it'd be okay. But that's what the Rays need. The Rays have always been this anonymous, oh, we're the little quants. We're the dumb guys with no money here. Shaq. Like, just boom, dunk on that. Shaq. So Shaq, Rays owner.
Damn, for somebody with no enthusiasm for this, you've selected two fantastic owners of franchises, Craig.
Look, I'm extremely talented, and when you ask me to do something, I'll bend my talents to your will.
My question is, was Shaq simply was the connection to Florida his time with the Magic? Is that where you were going with that?
Yeah, I wanted to pick him for one of the teams on my list. I thought he would be an excellent owner. I think he should be the owner of a pro sports team. And of the 10 teams that I happened to be selected, I thought the Rays made sense because they were small time. They're a small time team. And with the lack of state taxes in Florida, Shaquille should be happy to ply his billionaire wares there.
I think that's a great pick. This isn't a criticism. This is just a very different alternative. I was thinking for the owner of the Rays, you could do the estate of Steve Irwin.
Oh, fuck you, Raphie.
Oh no!
As
crikey.
reparations for
Oh,
the
crikey.
terrible injustice that happened to him. What better way to pay? I mean, the estate, his kids can't sue the fishes. They can't sue the Rays. They can't sue the literal Rays. But if you give him the franchise and you sell the franchise, that's a cool $1 billion that they get, as they deserve, because he was a good man.
My first act as owner, I'm dissolving the franchise.
Exactly.
For Dad.
I'm naming them after a lovely animal that won't hurt people, the crocodile.
Yeah.
Oh
my
I love
gosh!
our
All right,
Aussie
Raphie, who's
accents.
next? Who's the
We're
fifth
really
team on the
on.
list?
Yeah, the only Aussie thing I can say is no. Pretty good, right? All right. Next on the list for me, coming in the fifth pick, are the Miami Marlins. Guys, I didn't overthink this one. I probably spent the least time thinking about this one than any of the other ones. It's Pitbull. It's Mr. 305.
Sure.
It has
Absolutely.
to be.
Absolutely.
I mean, like, what other, like, I don't know. You could say like Dan Marino. Like, I guess, like, who are the other like big Miami? Like, I mean, Dwayne Wade. I like if you
I mean, you could have
way.
chose Tony Montana.
I could have. I really. I could.
I mean, Tony
could've.
Montana, not
Yeah.
Montana.
I knew.
Joe's
In this
brother,
case,
Tony.
when you say hello to your little friend, it's actually Luis Arias.
Yeah, no, the two, I mean, when they need to get people in the seats Tuesday nights, the cocaine promotion would have been fantastic.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Off the chain.
It's Cocaine Tuesday at Marlins
Yeah.
Park.
Yeah, the chalk on the foul lines is a little bit different that night. But no, we're just gonna go with Pitbull. If Pitbull,
AJ Preller putting in his application.
AJ Preller has entered the chat. Bump day?
Yeah.
What?
yeah, the Colombian Connect is gonna be going okay this year for AJ with Tony Montana. But no, I picked Pitbull because he's Miami. He's gonna get people in the seats. You know, if the lights ever go out at the stadium like they did at the Q that one time against the Diamondbacks, they could just shine a flashlight on his head. It would be fine. So I like Pitbull, and I think he brings a little bit of flair and excitement to an otherwise incredibly dull franchise. So that's my pick.
Well, I
you
mean,
back?
for pick 5 in the draft, Pitbull's already off the board. Damn. It's a talent-laden class for sure, but I can't help but feel sad that he's gone. I'm on the clock,
Yes.
and I have drawn the Oakland Athletics.
Okay, this is fun.
When we talk about bad owners, John Fisher has to rank at the top right now in Major League Baseball. He's actively moving the team, uprooting it. And if you're going to replace him, like I am going to with the 6th overall pick, you have to choose somebody who is dedicated to the fans, number one. So that is why I am drafting Rebecca Welton, formerly Rebecca Mannion.
Yes, absolutely.
Owner of Richmond FC. You're allowed to own clubs in other leagues, as
Oh.
Raphie has established.
Mm-hmm.
Owner of Richmond FC, majority owner because she sold 49% famously of Richmond FC to the
AFC.
fans.
Richmond AFC are killing me with that. I have the
AFC?
A in there.
Why,
Richmond
what's the
AFC.
Yeah, it's AFC. Yeah.
What does the
Or
A
AFC.
stand for?
I think
don't know.
athletic.
Yeah,
All right.
Or
Athletic AFC.
association. Maybe association football club.
Listen, this is a woman who makes bold decisions. She hired Ted Lasso, the American football coach who knew nothing about soccer, just on the vibes, and thinking that he would maybe destroy the club because she was in a bad divorce. Well, guess who is also in a bad marriage? The fans of the Oakland Athletics. Rebecca, she's had her life change. She is now dedicated to improving fans' experiences. She understands that being an owner of these multi-billion-dollar franchises carries a responsibility. It carries a duty to the people who attach their personalities and their lives to it. She would immediately sell 49% of the stake of the Oakland Athletics to the Oakland population. And definitely, we've seen that she goes after high-priced free agents. I mean, she got Zava for crying out loud.
You got Zava.
She got Zava. She got Danny Rojas. These aren't schlubs, you know? These aren't whoever is on the A's right now. These are bona fide stars of the game. So Rebecca Welton, owner of Richmond AFC.
Thank you.
Boss of the famous Ted Lasso, has replaced John Fisher and is now the owner of the Oakland Athletics.
I appreciate you came up with a fictitious person to own the A's because literally nobody would.
The only other name I could put out there is Marshawn Lynch, just because he's
that would have been good.
East Bay and he's insane, and I think
kicked him around. It would be fun. He would put more butts in the seats just if he promised to be at each game. You know, his friends would show up. So, that would have been a great pick as well.
All right, I'm up next. We've gone through 6 teams. 7th team on our docket is the Kansas City Royals. And obviously the Kansas City Royals need a lot. The Royals need an infusion of money. The Royals need an infusion of interest. The Royals need an infusion of star power. I think having a high-profile owner would go a long way towards raising the Royals within the baseball gestalt. And I think it's only appropriate, seeing as we're talking about the Kansas City Royals, that the new owners of the Royals should be Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. Let's get the Royals to own the Royals. And we know there's money there, or at least there's money to be asked. You can ask Dad for some cash. I think both of these two could use a little sports washing.
Sure.
For their overall Q rating.
I mean, they're already beefing with Bill Simmons, so they got that going for them too.
Right. You know, they're kind of being accused of not being in touch with Middle America, being a little bit of flyover country type folks. So they're going to really lock in here, being in Kansas City, Missouri. So Royals owners, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. That is my extremely serious, extremely well thought out decision.
Giving you royal claps. I put on my white gloves.
Those look like white gloves. What was outstanding?
Instead of Star Wars night, you could have like Suits night. And
Absolutely. And then there would just like be controversy all the time, and like all the British press would be covering the Royals like constantly, like they always do.
Yeah,
always covering the Royals.
Every flyover could be Prince Harry flying a helicopter.
Absolutely. Like, honestly, the marketing opportunities are multitudinous, and it's an obvious pick for the Kansas City Royals. But what team is next on our list?
Next up on the list, we have the Toronto Blue Jays. I tried to think about something that, again, wasn't as obvious as Pitbull for the Marlins, but I mean, you got to do Drake. It has to be Drake. Like, he's got the album
Jay-Z's
cover.
got to own the Yankees. Drake's got to own This isn't the hip-hop draft, Raphie.
But, okay. So, I got to be honest. I'm not a huge, like, Toronto person. I'm not, like, who are the big Toronto people. Like, I guess I could go with, like, the cast of Second City or something like that, like that are doing like like who are like Jim Carrey or Mike Myers, or who are the other like really famous like Canadian comedians?
John Candy.
Yeah, unfortunately unavailable.
Rick Moranis, who's very much receded from public life. No, I mean Drake has the album cover where he's sitting on the CN Tower, which looks down onto the field at the Rogers Center. It's a safe pick. It's a little bit of a defensive pick. But I'm hoping I can, I went a little under slot so that I could go over slot in the rest of the draft. So I look forward to doing that later.
No judgment, except for the judgment I've already given you. I've got the 9th overall pick, and mine is also a safe pick. This is very much a defensive pick, Raphie. I drew the Cardinals 9th. And we all are well familiar that the Cardinals have a particular way of doing things.
They have the
old way, the Cardinal way. And if you're gonna replace William DeWitt, who doesn't spend money like he should, like all these guys. You need somebody who is going to be dedicated to a way of life. And that's why I am making Ned Stark the owner of the St. Louis Cardinals. We know this man's dedication to tradition. We know he has a gigantic sword that is far too heavy, just like Albert Pujols' bat once was. We know this is going to be an organization steeped in tradition and a mindset that tomorrow can always get worse. So we must prepare for today. And we don't have to spend a ton of time on it, but Ned Stark is now the owner of the St. Louis Cardinals.
The Cardinals will always be the most prepared team for the winter meetings all year.
I think a lot of us were shocked watching Game of Thrones when certain things transpired. I won't spoil them.
Don't spoil Game of Thrones.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
in case.
When Ned Stark met his untimely death, I think a lot of people were surprised. But there was only one player who wasn't surprised, and that's Yachty. Yachty knew that Ned Stark overplayed his hand with Robert Baratheon. Yachty knew that Rob Stark went a little too far at the towers with the phrase.
Oh my God. I love it. I absolutely love it. Okay, this has been more fun than I thought. All right, I'm next up. And I don't know. This might be my worst pick of the group, but I've got the Cubs here. Obviously, we could use some fresh ownership for the Cubs. Very corporate. They've been very corporate, very stale for several decades. So I'm just thinking. I'm thinking a little bit outside of the box here, and I was thinking about somebody who has tried to get into MLB before as an owner, would love to run a high-profile team like the Cubs, and just came into $3.5 billion thanks to a savvy business transaction that he did, I think, last week. So I'm going to have Mark Cuban buy the Cubs. Mark Cuban just sold the majority share of the Dallas Mavericks. He still has the ability in that business deal to run the Mavericks, but I'm going to say he's going to grow tired of that in short order. That $3.5 billion is going to burn a hole in his pocket, and he's going to say, I want to get back in and own a Major League Baseball team as well as NBA. So Mark Cuban and then the Chicago Cubes will be ready to go.
God damn it.
Okay,
Major League Baseball.
You almost won me over with the last thing, but the obvious choice here was Bill Murray. I mean, frankly.
I thought about Bill Murray, but I don't think he's got the cash.
I'm not interrupting. Chris is just drinking from a face. The skull of his enemies, I guess.
Yes, I am. I don't remember that secondary character's name north of the wall. Who's very creepy.
The White Walker, the Night King?
No, it was way more. They deposed the one dude who was, having children with all his daughters, and then the guy was like, I'm drinking from the skull of the baby.
All right.
We're
Somehow we went there. Raphie, what's your next team?
So I have the 11th pick, which is the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. I considered for a second that the answer was actually someone who had already owned the team, which is I kind of wanted it to go back to the Walt Disney Company, just because I love the idea that the mouse owned the team. That Bob Iger is making decisions on whether or not we should be trading Tyler Anderson or something like that. He's trying to bust unions, and then also what are we gonna do about our second base platoon? I like that idea, but no, I had to focus a little bit more geographically. Anaheim, of course, right in the middle of Orange County, and what is more OC than the OC? And so I have decided that the new owner is going to be Sandy Cohen, the father from the show The OC, played by Peter Gallagher. He is, of course,
this is Peter Gallagher, right? This is
Peter
Sex,
Gallagher.
Lies, and Videotape right here. Okay,
exactly. Peter Gallagher, who played Sandy Cohen, probably the most offensive example of like, we're just going to tell you this guy's Jewish and you're going to believe it, but his name's literally Peter Gallagher. I'm like, come on, dude. Like, really? But he's a great TV dad, and he is a lawyer, and they live in a nice big mansion in Newport Beach. And I think it makes a lot of sense. He can just hop right up to 57, slide into the executive suite, and become the owner. So, and then, of course, we have Adam Brody as Seth Cohen, his son, right in line to inherit the team. Of course, it'll be a little complicated because Ben McKenzie, who of course played Ryan Atwood, their adopted son, he's going to want part of it. So I'm assuming there's going to be a lawsuit between the two of them in about 20 years. But for now, Sandy Cohen, owner of the Angels.
I like it. Move back, Steve Cohen. There's a new Cohen in town.
Exactly.
I oddly drew the other Los Angeles team next, and this one was probably my easiest choice, and we don't need to ruminate on it too long because it's so friggin' obvious. The Los Angeles Dodgers are owned by a place called the Guggenheim Partners. Their biggest controversy last year, of course, coming when they invited the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence to be a part of their LGBT Pride Night ceremonies, and then withdrew the invitation and then gave the invitation back, kind of. And they're not going to have this problem going forward under new ownership because the owner of the Los Angeles Dodgers is going to be a San Diego person, and that is going to be RuPaul.
Hell yeah.
Where I thought you were going, and I'm happy you went there. Okay.
It's just, like I said, it's the obvious direction for this team. Like, it would immediately rejuvenate the fan base. RuPaul is going to be committed to slaying every single year. It's not going to be committed to winning 100 games or making good decisions. It's going to be to the slay. I would hate to see the rings that they would be wearing. It would be rings undeserved, fictional, or in not real seasons or not. They would just be everywhere. So the Dodgers will finally get their rings because RuPaul will buy them and put them on all the players. And I think John Waters would face some serious competition in the costumes, Rafe.
This is true.
I mean, the uniforms, not the costumes. What am I talking about?
Whole new meaning to dragging the infield.
Craig, you're up. 13th pick, Seattle Mariners.
Okay, so
and talk about a team that needs new ownership. My God,
here we have the Seattle Mariners, and I'm deadly serious about this one because the Seattle Mariners are in a huge spot in franchise history. Right now, this used to be Japan's team with Ichiro, and then Nintendo owning the team, but the Mariners have been on a little bit of hard times. They were the team that set that, had like 20 years out of the playoffs, and then they snuck in, and then Robbie Ray, launched them out just as fast as they were in. And they're kind of in a weird spot. The Mariners want to make a huge move. And frankly, the Mariners want to sign Shohei Ohtani. This is a giant year for Seattle, and there's nothing that could go better for Seattle than signing Shohei Ohtani. So it's going to be really exciting at these winter meetings when the new owner of the Seattle Mariners is introduced, Shohei Ohtani. Because this is the deal that he can't refuse. You now own the team. You're going to play for the team. You actually own the team now, Shohei. This is how we're going to get you. Everyone else is giving you years and millions. We're going to give you the Seattle Mariners. It's yours now.
Unfortunately, you've done logic yourself into a hole, and Jeff Morad is now the owner of the Seattle Mariners because it is expressly forbidden in the CBA for active players to hold stake of ownership in teams. He can be the owner, but he cannot play.
So the fictional Richmond AFC's fictional owner is owning the A's, but I can't have Shohei on the
Nothing in the
Mariners?
CBA says that Rebecca Welton cannot own. The Oakland A's.
Damn your pretzel logic. Morad's now in charge of Seattle, and they get nothing.
I'm so sorry, Seattle. Somebody had to get it. Somebody had to get the big D.
Oh, man. I thought I had it all worked out.
Played yourself.
Well, look, maybe he's the future owner. Maybe they introduce him and it's like the day you retire, you become the owner of the team.
Okay, I like that. I don't think there's anything in the rules that say that can't happen.
Okay, so that's how it's going to work. There's going to be a steward in charge. Hoshe Towani will be in charge for
his interpreter. Years. His interpreter is like the trustee.
Exactly.
I want his agent's cat to be in charge.
Hiroko is in charge until Shohei is available. Hiroko is in charge. If you didn't listen to the Mr. Baseball podcast, you're welcome.
We got there.
Okay, Rafe, who's next?
Okay, I am next with the 14th overall pick. I have the Arizona D-backs for 14th. I prefer to say Diamondbacks, but D-backs, I guess, is the official name now. So I was like, who are some Arizona legends? I kicked around some big ones. Sheriff Joe Arpaio, of course. The ghost of John McCain. But no, I wanted to lean into the snake of it all, and I wanted to think, what could be, the most famous or infamous. So the new owner of the Arizona D-backs is the snake from the Garden of Eden.
It's the devil. That's
the ultimate snake.
He, first of all, going to be an absolute menace at the winter meetings. Like, you do not want to make a deal with the snake from the Garden of Eden. Beware of the giveaway nights when apples are being handed out. Do not bite into them.
Avoid.
And any player that is named Adam on the current roster is going to be traded away. So just prepare for that. There will be some salary dumps to be had. Not a great owner, but probably what the people of Arizona deserve. So the snake from the Garden of Eden coming in at number 14. 15th, we have the Philadelphia Phillies and Chris Reed.
This is the mids pick, and I kicked around a lot here. I thought Rocky Balboa might be a worthwhile steward of the franchise. I thought the gang, Dennis, D, Charlie, and Mac with good old Uncle Frank might be good. But I have to tip my cap here because the point of this exercise is to improve baseball. And John Middleton, the owner of the Phillies, sits in the crowd at home games. He throws balls to his fans. John Middleton, the current owner of the Philadelphia Phillies, is my pick to be owner of the Philadelphia
he found
Phillies.
one he liked, did he?
I found one I liked. 1 out of my 10, possibly out of 28.
All right.
Sorry.
John Middleton it is. He's fine. Middleton's fine.
He's mids. He's Middleton.
Mid-round, mid-pick.
It's all mid.
Fair enough. I didn't put an incredible amount of thought into the Boston Red Sox, which was my next pick. The Boston Red Sox. I mean, John Henry's been a pretty good owner for the Red Sox. They didn't win any championships before he was their owner, and then they won championships. There was that 86-year drought. It seems like a good thing. So probably they're pretty happy with John Henry, but this is what I was thinking. The Red Sox are too big. They're such a gigantic franchise that the next owner will probably not be a person. It'll probably be a consortium, very much like the Dodgers and the Guggenheim group. And of course, the Dodgers with the Guggenheim group needed a famous athlete to be a controlling face. And Magic Johnson was the perfect guy for the job because he is LA and he is LA sports personified. So the leader of the Boston Red Sox ownership consortium shall be Larry Bird. And Bird v. Magic, let's get it going at the owners' meetings. Let's get things going. Let's get Converse involved.
It's now Bird versus RuPaul, but yes, I'm with you.
Yeah. So Larry Bird, new control owner of the Boston Red Sox.
That's great. So for 17th overall, I've got the Milwaukee Brewers. And I wanted to think about someone who would strike fear into the hearts of opposing teams. Of course, the Cubs just took the Brewers' lunch money and paid Craig Counsell to take come and manage for their team. So I wanted to go a different direction, zag, if you will. So for the new owner of the Milwaukee Brewers, I'm going with the junior senator from Wisconsin, Joseph McCarthy. He will he will simply create a congressional committee to take you down if you do not conform to him. Specifically, if you were to say come to Milwaukee and sweep the Brewers at home, you will be dragged in front of HUAC and questioned, potentially blacklisted. Make sure you get there soon because, of course, McCarthy will die of alcoholism.
Booze is going to be cheap.
Yeah, $5 beer night every night.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's my pick. Any feedback before we move on to Chris?
I think it's pretty solid. What are we at? 17?
Are you or have you ever been a Chicago Cubs fan?
Exactly. I just did 17. So with the 18th pick, Chris, you're up. You have the San Francisco Giants.
Well, have you no decency, sir? The San Francisco Giants are owned by Charles B. Johnson right now, and they have not been able to woo free agents because their vibes have been off. Nobody's quite digging it. They need to mellow out the mood. So what I'm going to do with my pick is I'm going to head down to Haight-Ashbury, and I'm going to find me an old witch, and I'm going to bring her a fistful of hair I found stuffed into a bass guitar at an estate sale outside the city. And she's going to conjure up for me, bring back from the spirit world, Jerry Garcia. And he will steward the San Francisco Giants to relevancy, to good times, to peaceful existence. No more fights between Dodger fans and Giants fans, no matter where they are, out of respect for their esteemed owner. And there's going to be drugs. No longer will sex acts in the Bay Area performed in the stands be tabooed or looked down upon. Instead, they will be welcomed. He's the perfect man for a not perfect city. Jerry Garcia is now the owner of the San Francisco Giants.
Outstanding. He's dead, but cool.
I just brought him back, Craig. I told you my whole process.
I like it, and I'm just going to put this to plug because I happen to be reading from the library. There's a book called Season of the Witch, which is a history of the city of San Francisco from the 50s, 60s, and 70s. Jerry Garcia features heavily in that. So I will recommend that, and I fully endorse this pick. Chris, well done. We're going to move on to the 19th overall pick. And Craig, you have the you have the Washington Nationals.
Let me guess, you
correct.
chose somebody who's alive.
Sort of, yeah. Okay, so I've actually got a couple of directions. I was a little torn on this, but I decided the Washington Nationals, a team in our nation's capital, DC, not recognized as a state. It's not sovereign. It's a liberal bastion, but I think it's time for the Nationals to take a right-hand turn.
Uh-oh.
And I'm excited, and I'm contractually obligated to be excited to announce that the Saudi Sovereign Wealth Fund is now in charge of the Washington Nationalists, and they will now be the Washington Nationalists from now on. And Phil Mickelson is our general manager. We are very excited about the direction of the franchise, and you will like the Washington Nationalists.
Craig, I had the Saudi Sovereign Wealth Fund high on my board for several different teams, but did not make the pick out of respect. So I think they are, they're going to bring a lot. I don't know of what, but they're going to bring a lot.
And listen, the coverage of the Washington Post is just going to be
You will be optimistic.
I've got a bone saw to pick with you, sports writer. Too soon?
I have nothing else to say other than all praise goes to the Crown Prince. He's batting 1,000
praise.
as far as we're concerned.
For sure.
We've
Catch
never
and kill.
criticized
Please
anything.
look at our catch and kill Patreon level.
Yeah, exactly.
This
You
is
want to
the
shut
time.
this show down?
This is the show. Now is the time.
What, did we say it was 5 million or 10 million? I can't remember.
I believe it was 10, 20 million, Raphie. 10,
Yeah,
20 million.
Yeah, somewhere in that range, 10, 20 million. You can end this show forever.
Forever. We're done. We'll never come back. I promise.
No more jokes.
Raphie, who do you got?
Okay, so I have the 20th pick. I have the Cleveland Guardians. And, the Guardians have really had a rough time because they've had some great teams and they've had terrible owners. The Dolans, who of course own the Knicks and Madison Square Garden, terrible owners, constantly tearing down the team. And so I figured if you're going to have a heel owner as the Guardians, why not go all the way? And why not hire Margaret Whitten, the actress who played Rachel Phelps, the Las Vegas showgirl who inherits the team in Major League, to now own the team.
Yes.
She comes in. I mean, again, if you're going to tank and cut payroll, it's just, hey, this guy on the team is dead. Cross him off the list
Scratch him off the list then. Yeah.
We might as well get a great cardboard cutout out of our team owner at all times. I love this pick, Rafe.
Exactly. Yeah. The only other thought was like staying in the same vein, putting Charlie Sheen in there. He, probably does have the cash to lead some sort of consortium. But we already talked about doing Cocaine Night in Miami, so I don't think Cocaine Night in
rappers
Cleveland
from Cleveland you can think of.
Yeah, redundant. Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly. So so Rachel Phelps, the Las Vegas showgirl from Major League for the 20th pick. 21st, New York Mets, Chris Reed.
Well, we're on the down Easter Citibank field. Steve Cohen, he has a lot of money, but he's just not inspiring at all. Who is more inspiring than noted crooner and piano man Billy Joel, the new owner of the Mets, bringing again probably 5-cent beer night. It's not just the Brewers, it's also going to the Mets. This is a guy who has won the hearts of millions of people worldwide. He brings instant brand recognition in a way that just money doesn't. He has art with him. I know he would be perfect for the town. He deserves another day in the spotlight. Billy Joel is your new Mets owner.
This is the first team that got actively worse. Steve Cohen's got all the money in the world.
Oh, Billy Joel's great. He's got
Billy
so
Joel.
much money.
Yeah.
He's got a. I don't remember any Billy Joel lyrics right now.
He's just going to perform every night, every road
night.
trip. Every time the Mets leave Citi Field, Billy Joel residence continues.
I love it.
Going to maximize. Okay, now I'm starting to see it. They can maximize revenue that way.
And that's not split amongst revenue sharing.
Right? Because it's concerts.
Yeah.
So it's perfect. Okay, I'm next with the White Sox. And listen, the White Sox need better ownership. Jerry Reinsdorf has been there forever. He's horrible. He hires 80-year-old managers. It's not good. So I need somebody, and I'm thinking again of more of a control owner here. Okay, my selection is heading an ownership group, but this person is going to be a control owner. And if you're a White Sox fan, you want a White Sox fan as your control owner. And this person maybe wants to get back in the spotlight in a different way. Maybe he misses having a lot of attention, but maybe he'd like it to be in a slightly less polarized environment or a polarized north side, south side type situation. So I'm thrilled, and I think White Sox fans are extremely excited to meet the new control owner of the Chicago White Sox, Barack Obama, the 44th president of the United States.
Slam dunk.
Slam dunk.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Wow. The speeches, the press conferences just got so much more groovy. Talk about packing the crowds. Yeah. The first pitch, he can give the first pitch every night, and it's going to be a strike.
Absolutely. And look, Bush ran the Rangers, so
Yep.
Obama can run the White Sox.
It has to happen.
Bush traded Sammy Sosa, so I want to know like which trade Obama's gonna fuck up, like as part of his ownership. All right,
Dylan Cease doesn't quite get there, does it?
No.
So I'm up at number 23. I've got the Houston Astros. The really dumb one would be like a trash can. But I do want to go into. I actually want to do some good with this. We're gonna give the team to two guys, both former MLB players. One of them is named Mike Bolsinger, and the other is named Danny Farquhar. Mike Bolsinger. So hang on, let me start. Danny Farquhar. Let me start with him. Was a reliever for the Chicago White Sox, and in the original John Boy video, in which they broke down the trash can banging, he was the pitcher who picked up on the sign stealing. So he was the kind of the first person to understand what was going on. And Danny Farquhar, by the way, out of the major leagues by the next year. He was immediately demoted to AAA after getting blown up by the White Sox. In a similar fashion, Mike Bolsinger was a starter for a few teams. He finished his career in 2017 with the Blue Jays. His final start in Houston, he got absolutely blown up. I think he went to go play in Japan for a year or something.
Yes,
Never recovered.
He did.
Yes. And he actually ended up suing the Astros for damages to his career. Trying to imply that his career was ended by the trash can scandal. And his lawsuit was dismissed. Didn't go anywhere in court. So I figured, hey, let's do a little bit of good with the Astros. These two guys set them up for life. Mike Bolsinger and Danny Farquhar, your new owners of the Houston Astros.
Man, redemption is sweet.
Yeah. I think Mike Bolsinger's lawsuit was dismissed when the other lawyer just put up his 1.8 whip.
Yeah.
On the screen. It was just like, your whip was 1.8. Done. The defense rests.
Yeah.
The judge is like, I'm an ERA man. That is also very bad.
It's also really bad. 6. So you're out of here, pal.
Yeah.
Incredible. Chris, who do you have next?
Yeah, sir, go ahead.
So what are we at? 22?
No, we're at 24. You have the Detroit Tigers.
I have the Detroit Tigers. Boys, this one is the biggest slam dunk. You're going to love it. So Detroit Tigers are run by a Nepo baby who the team's been in the family, and he's just, milking that revenue sharing. I went with somebody who is a self-made man, not somebody you would expect to succeed at the level he has, but has done so. And unfortunately, according to Major League Baseball rules, once you own a baseball team, you can no longer play, meaning that you can't fulfill your contract and your contract is now void. So Michigan's favorite son, Jacob Cronenworth, now owns the Detroit Tigers and is unable to fulfill his duties and his contract as a San Diego Padre. And he's going to bring his tenacity and grit to bringing that team back to glory.
Oh my gosh. I was like, how big was that Seidler gift? Was it that big? I thought it was $80 million. Okay, I like it.
No, they added some zeros.
There you go. $80 billion.
He's the face. He's another face. He's a face of consortium of Michigan people who are all about grittiness and low on-base percentage and slugging and batting.
I just like that you figured out a way to get a new owner that would reduce our CBT debt.
So deeply scarred by these
trying to get under the apron. Yeah. This is unbelievable. All right. Well, I'm next with the Colorado Rockies. And the Rockies probably have the worst owner in the sport already. And listen, I'm perfectly happy to keep it this way because I hate the Rockies and I want them to be bad. But unlike somebody else who just let the current owner stay in this group. I'm not saying who, but it's the guy who passed over there. Okay.
It was because he was good.
I followed the exercise. All right. So I came up with an owner who 100% could own a sports team if he wanted to, but I think would be a shitty owner that would fuck up the Rockies or keep them fucked up. So the Rockies' new owner is the head of Marvel Entertainment, Ike Perlmutter. The 81-year-old Ike Perlmutter. Now, I'm reading Joanna Robinson's book, MCU. Okay, so this is partially inspired by the 2 pages I read last night. But Ike Perlmutter, who has been in charge of a multi-billion-dollar company for decades, is famously one of the cheapest people you'll ever meet. To the point that in the Marvel Entertainment offices, in the Marvel Studios offices, there was this year where everyone wrote everything in purple ink. And people thought like, oh, is this a Thanos or a Black Panther? Very clever, subtle gorilla. No, it's because they bought a giant tub of blue and black and purple pens, and they used all the blue and the black. And Ike Perlmutter wouldn't let Marvel buy new pens until they used up all the ink in all the purple pens. So purple pens for the Rockies front office, perfectly mixed, purple team, purple pens. Ike Perlmutter keeps all of his billions, only sets up the Rockies, only runs them exclusively to boost toy sales. So it's nothing but Chris Bryant action figures in every store, in every toy store in the greater Colorado area. The Rockies continue to be run terribly by a billionaire who is a complete jerk and a cheap ass spendthrift. So Ike Perlmutter, owner of the
now
Rockies.
the Rockies have their first real legit blood rivalry with the Los Angeles Angels, who are owned by Bob Iger and Disney.
There you go. So it's a delightful melange. It's a beautiful mix.
I love that, Craig. I'm number 26 with the Cincinnati Reds. This was the one that I think I thought when I looked at my list, this was the first one that I thought of. It completely came in. This is going to be a consortium. The face of it is Pete Rose, and he's going to be backed by FanDuel and DraftKings. And they're going to take over the Cincinnati Reds and say, fuck you.
Flip that rascal.
Yeah, exactly. Just like, I'm banned for life. Well, how about I own the Reds now? And my money is all coming from gambling. That's it. I don't have anything else to say. I think
it's
that's
just a live
hilarious
line out there in center field. Just the money line just keeps changing.
Yeah.
You want to bet
100%.
it now, Pete? You want to bet it now, Pete? It just keeps saying up on the screen. Chris, who's next on the list?
That's a perfect pick, Raphie. The next pick on the list is the Pittsburgh Pirates. And in fitting with criminals running baseball teams with Raphie's pick, I am going to go with the worst pirate I have ever seen, and that, of course, is Captain Jack Sparrow. He inherited Cortez's treasure. He's got a room full of gold that he can spend at his whimsy. He is a dude who loves a good time. The Pirates need panache. They need swagger. And Jack Sparrow is the man to bring it to Pittsburgh.
Savvy. I like it. Okay. All right. My last one, last 3 teams. The last team that was assigned to me was the Texas Rangers. They just won the World Series, so I feel like their ownership is pretty secure right now. Probably Rangers fans are happy with their current ownership. So I could only think of one person that fans in Texas would be happy to take over for an owner that just won the World Series. And it's someone who can just bring that spirit. Matthew McConaughey.
All right.
That's all you had to say. Owner of the Rangers.
He definitely just brought more sex appeal to MLB ownership than it has ever had before.
I mean, it's got Barack Obama now and Prince Harry.
Yeah.
And Danny DeVito. So, I mean, things have gotten a lot more sexy, a lot more juice with this draft.
Love that.
Well, I'm done. My watch here has ended. Raphie, what do you got?
I've got the 29th pick. I've got the Atlanta Braves. Again, I tossed around some thoughts. Could have been Outcast, but then I'm a little too rapper heavy. I was thinking about maybe we can go with like a Jimmy Carter or something like that, but he's not too long for this world, so I think that would want to create too much shakeup. So I wanted to go with someone who's a little more timeless, someone who knows the city of Atlanta a little bit intimately, and kind of on my McCarthy trend, someone who's going to strike fear into the hearts of opponents. So the new owner of the Atlanta Braves is General William Tecumseh Sherman, who of course burnt down the city of Atlanta.
He's going to tear this franchise down.
And what else does this baseball need than a complete uprooting of the Braves, who have somehow held all their players at gunpoint and said, you need to sign these incredibly team-friendly contracts? Well, if, just a little accident happened to happen to the Braves, your nice little franchise got burnt down to the ground, it wouldn't be such a terrible thing. So General Sherman, new owner of the soon-to-be dismantled Atlanta Braves.
One step towards a Padres victory. I love it. But wait, There's one team left, and it's the San Diego Padres. Okay, Chris. All right.
You guys will all know from the top of this show that when I pitched this show, it was a year ago, and the Padres had the best owner in sports. I am going back to my witch in San Francisco with a ball full of hair from my hand, and we're getting him back, baby. Papa Pete was the best owner we could have hoped for, and there will never be one better. So I'm using my imaginary, fictional, whimsical draft pick to put back the best owner that the Padres have ever had.
Well, now I'm just sad.
Yeah.
And we should be, because that's the state of baseball. It's the right pick. You can't do another one, but that's the state of baseball, is that all these other jackasses are running the teams, and there's very few good ones. And so that's why we did this.
Okay, well, I think we improved the sport.
We did. Well, I mean, John Waters and RuPaul, instantly, and Barack Obama, yeah. Let's give the rundown, Raphie.
Let's just recap it. So, starting as baseball media normally does with the AL East, we've got the the Yankees owned by Spike Lee, Red Sox owned by a consortium led by Larry Bird. The Tampa Bay Rays are owned by Shaquille O'Neal. The Baltimore Orioles are owned by John Waters, and the Toronto Blue Jays are owned by Drake. Moving on to the AL Central, we've got the Cleveland Guardians owned by former Las Vegas showgirl Rachel Phelps from the movie Major League. The White Sox are owned by Barack Obama. The Kansas City Royals are now owned by Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. The Twins are owned by Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito, and the Tigers are owned by Jake Cronenworth. In the AL West, we have the Astros owned by Mike Bolsinger and Danny Farquhar. The Rangers owned by Matthew McConaughey. The Mariners owned by Shohei Ohtani. The Angels owned by Sandy Cohen from the OC, and the A's owned by Rebecca Welton from Ted Lasso. Moving on to the National League. In the NL East, the New York Mets are owned by Billy Joel. The Phillies, still owned by John Middleton somehow.
So bad.
Can't believe you did that.
One fucking guy. He's just like, hi, I'm John. I'll be running this meeting. I'm the only guy who's been an owner before.
The Washington Nationalists, now owned by the Saudi Sovereign Wealth Fund. The Miami Marlins are owned by Pitbull. And the Atlanta Braves are owned by General William Tecumseh Sherman. The Cubs in the NL Central are owned by Mark Cuban, the Cubes. The Chicago Cubes. The Milwaukee Brewers are owned by Senator Joseph McCarthy. The St. Louis Cardinals are owned by Ned Stark. The Pirates are owned by Captain Jack Sparrow. And the Reds are owned by Pete Rose, presented by FanDuel. In the NL West, rounding it out, in San Francisco, the Giants are owned by the ghost of Jerry Garcia. The Dodgers are owned by RuPaul. The Rockies are owned by Ike Perlmutter from Marvel Entertainment. The D-backs are owned by the Snake from the Garden of Eden. And of course, the San Diego Padres are owned by our beloved Peter Seidler, your new MLB owner class. That was really fun, you guys.
Okay.
AL
definitely
Central came
entertaining.
up.
Yeah, great job, Chris, on this one. Good call.
It's better than talking about what everybody else is talking about.
I mean, I think
Yeah.
that's fair. Listen, I'm just speaking directly to the guys at Gwintelligence. Obviously, you're going to make fun of us for this show, but like, first off, I heard your ad, so you're no longer ad free. Okay, so let's just make that clear.
Wait,
You're
what
no
was
longer
their ad?
ad free.
Wait,
What was their
Oh,
ad?
I am not going to spoil it. I'm going to let you guys download it. I'm going to feed them more downloads. It was
Were people
it
in
was
glass
good.
houses
It was
throwing
of
stones?
quality. But they're no longer ad free, so they can fuck right off. And also, you didn't think of an idea this funny, so there. Chris did. Nah. All right, we'll be back later this week with a real show, presumably, because we're not going to go drafting ketchup and mustard after this. Okay, like we're not going to do it. We're not going to
Mustard
do
goes
it.
number one.
Mustard is
Obviously.
number one on my book for sure. For sure. But for Chris, I'm and Raphie. I'm not Raphie. I'm Craig. We've drafted 30 teams. We've done some nonsense. I think we came in at about an hour. Okay, good. All right. We literally can talk an hour when nothing happens, and we just proved it. We will see you later this week. Go Padres.